Hello, Galion Tiger fans. I am Kyle Baughan, your high school athletic director. I am joined by Superintendent Jennifer Allerding and Communications Liaison Chris Stone. We have invited everyone here tonight to help answer questions about the upcoming winter extracurricular seasons. In particular, information for tickets, fan attendance, athletic eligibility questions this year. Please send any questions you have through the chat box during tonight's presentation. I will do my best to answer everything that comes up. Athletics are a part of the extracurricular educational process of Galion City Schools, serving as an arena for learning. We strive to have each student athlete enjoy a positive experience while developing competitive teams. Within this framework, the participation of all student athletes is encouraged without compromising that competitive nature. Athletes will learn to appreciate teamwork and how to deal with coaches, referees, opponents, peers, and themselves. Interscholastic athletics are an extension of the classroom that provide teaching and learning experiences for all involved. These experiences and lessons relate as much to life and education as they do to the outcome on a scoreboard. Our mission is to foster the quest for excellence by creating an educational and competitive experience within an atmosphere of sportsmanship. Galion Athletics develop individual and team potential by prompting high standards of competence, character, civility, and citizenship. First question, can people get tickets this year? Great news, we are not being restricted for attendance at this point. So we are selling tickets to everyone that wants to cheer for our Tigers. We will run normal gates and really look forward to welcoming all our Tiger fans back this winter. I do not anticipate being forced to limit our crowds during the winter. All varsity events are $7 for adults and $5 for students or senior citizens. Admission for all middle school and standalone freshman and JV events is $5 per ticket. We are also going to be offering pre-sale tickets for events through hometown ticketing. Once the winter games are loaded, digital tickets can be purchased on the district website. Click on the Purchase Athletic Tickets tab under the Athletics tab, which will also continue to sell traditional tickets at the gate this winter. So you have two options, fans, as you want to guide you through the lines for the winter events. Senior citizen passes from previous years are still valid. Senior citizen passes are also available at the board office for any senior 62 years and older who lives in the Galion City School District. Do we have to wear masks? COVID-19 hasn't went away. At this time, masks are not required during extracurricular events. We would still ask everyone to spread out as much as possible and wash your hands. The CDC does recommend anyone not vaccinated or with medical concerns take extra precautions like masking up. We continue to ask everyone to be symptom-free before coming to any of our events. Please stay home if you are sick. As we did last year, please understand that mandates may change and we may have to adjust. We did require facial coverings for a short period of time during volleyball games this fall, and some area schools are requiring facial coverings when we travel. I'm happy to announce that WMFD is going to live stream varsity basketball games again this year. That live stream is being provided by WMFD free of charge. And that kind of brings up a topic that happened this fall. Fans, please guard against spam and phishing schemes going with live streams. We saw quite a bit of fake links to games, especially during football, so please be extremely careful who you trust. I suggest that for away venues, call the away school to confirm who is streaming that game. For a lot of these games, there is not going to be a live stream because they're selling tickets again. But from time to time, especially varsity, a lot of the schools are coming up with different streaming options. But do not give out your credit card and private information. If you start getting those kind of questions, pretty good chance, unless you exactly know what website you're on, you might be getting taken advantage of. Anything to add, Mr. Stone or Mrs. Allarding?
Not at this time. Thanks, Kyle.
Next question. Will we have programs this year? Yes. Craig Allgaier with Photorama is taking team photos for our high school teams and will offer traditional Memory Mate packages. A1 Printing will produce the programs for us again this year. Fall programs were sold this fall, and winter programs are going to be sold by the Booster Club at the concession stand. Can we continue to have student sections this winter? Yes, we are currently not being limited for attendance. We would remind our students to cheer like crazy for our teams while leaving opposing teams and officials alone. Students must remain in the bleacher. The gym floor is off limits. Will the pep band be at home games? Yes, for our basketball teams. I'm happy to say that the pep band is going to be back for boys and girls basketball. We're mixing it up on the amount of games they're going to be covering this year. Do students have to be eligible to play? We returned back to normal OHSAA rules at the end of the first grading period. Athletes must pass a minimum of 5 one-credit courses. It is extremely important that athletes do not drop classes without checking with the guidance department. Athletes must also comply with OHSAA, Galion, and individual sport regulations and rules. When in doubt, ask a school administrator. Each individual team will or has also had a parent meeting to address more sport-specific questions. You can always reach out to your head coach. Eligibility-wise, probably the two biggest questions for our athletes that we're going to ask. Are you enrolled at Galion? Do you live in the Galion City School District? Answering no to either of those questions doesn't mean you can't play, but it is going to require extra paperwork to be filed with the Ohio High School Athletic Association. The OHSAA website and our Galion Athletic page are great resources for answers to most questions. Please check those out at your convenience. Parents and athletes, please be willing to talk to your head coach privately when you have questions or concerns, not just about eligibility. And then I am also a resource for you. What happens if someone tests positive for COVID-19? Positive COVID tests do continue to require quarantine following the health department guidelines. The athletic quarantine is 10 days and also requires completing the return to play COVID protocols. John Vitello is our Avita-sponsored trainer. He will guide an athlete who tests positive for COVID-19 back safely to action. And again, those guidelines can always be adjusted. We just got a new update today we would share with individuals that fall into that criteria. This process is very similar to returning from an injury like a concussion. The health and safety of our athletes is always a top priority. Please communicate with John and your coach for any illness or injury. The faster we take action, the sooner our athlete can return to play. Contact tracing may be used to determine if anyone else must be quarantined. The key for contact tracing is still anyone within 6 feet for 15 minutes or more. We learned a lot last year about minimizing the risk. The biggest areas of concern for our athletes continue to be locker rooms. Teams must spread out and eliminate unnecessary congregating. Transportation, spread out and mask up on the buses. 2 barrier protection is going to keep us from having any contact trace issues. Water. Athletes should always bring water to practice and games. Do not share food or drinks with others. That still seems to be the #1 place of spreading any type of sickness, not just COVID-19, is when athletes share drinks or share food with each other. Be smart at home. Again, we just ask you to minimize the risk of exposure. Is the COVID vaccine required? No, it is not. We are not required to get the vaccine, but the CDC and Governor's Office continue to highly recommend the vaccine. Our athletes are not being forced to do that. That is a decision for each family to discuss and make together. What restrictions do fans have at events? We have to follow the safety guidelines as directed by the Ohio Department of Health. Our Galion Athletics game day protocols include the following. Those attending any event are required to perform a self-assessment test prior to arrival. If you have symptoms, stay home. Those not vaccinated are encouraged to wear face coverings. Families are encouraged to social distance as much as possible and spread out in the stands. Proper hand washing is still the most effective way to combat the spread of the sickness. Please note that not all away venues will use our exact guidelines. Teams and fans must adjust to away venue expectations. Are we offering youth athletics? Yes, we continue. Youth athletics are up and running. Talk to your sport-specific coaches to get details. What about concession? Concessions, the Galion Booster Club will continue to offer full concessions in the winter. Mr. Stone, do we have some other questions coming in to address?
Not at this time.
So nothing else coming in. A couple other things to remember. Final forms, athletes and parents must sign all OHSA required papers through final forms. Please make sure to select all the sports that you want to play so that your coach has you on the roster. All athletes must get a physical every year. We do continue to have a year-round athletic code and random drug testing program. Vapes, marijuana, alcohol are major concerns. They are not safe, and using them does hurt our athletic performance. A single Juul pod contains as much nicotine as a pack of 20 regular cigarettes. Marijuana is known to increase the heart rate while decreasing cardiac stroke volume. This not only puts the athlete at risk, but also diminishes peak performance. Smoking any substance is harmful to your lungs and can reduce the effectiveness of the body's ability to absorb oxygen needed for optimum sports performance. Marijuana can slow reaction time and hurt hand-eye coordination. These effects can last 24 to 36 hours after smoking. According to a recent Crawford County survey, 94% of the county students who admitted to being drinkers are involved in extracurricular activities. Think about that for a second. Middle school and high school students in the county were anonymously surveyed. Out of those students who said that they have been intoxicated drinking alcohol, 94% of that group are in extracurricular activities. Parents, please continue to talk to your students. Unfortunately, alcohol use with our students is still a problem. Every time an athlete gets intoxicated, they lose 14 days of training. When an athlete gets intoxicated, their performance potential is lowered by 11.4% before they even start the game. So if your athlete is drinking alcohol, the best they can be during competition is 88.6%. Fan, athlete, and parent behavior matters. Good sportsmanship is something that we pride ourselves with at Galion. Please pause before you yell or make that negative comment. Respect the game and help us model Tiger pride. Social media can also really cause our teams unnecessary grief. Please represent our school and community with Tiger pride. Cheer for our kids and leave the officials, coaches, and opposing teams alone. Galion High School is an award of excellence school. We are committed to the ideals of education-based athletics. Participation in extracurricular activities is a privilege, not a right. Anything to add, Mrs. Aldering?
Sure. I just want to thank Mr. Bond for his time today, and thank you for allowing me to join in. I just think one thing that I want to reiterate to our families that are listening, the biggest factor, we want to keep our kids in school in person. We want to keep them on the courts. We want to keep them competing. So please, 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 if your child is not feeling well, just keep them home. We don't want to risk our other athletes, teams. We don't want to shut competition down. And I know that's really hard because kids love to play, parents love to see their kids play, but please, please be considerate of those other students that are on the team, because oftentimes they're in close proximity, they are not wearing masks, and so if you could do that, that would be the biggest thing that I would ask you to do here this winter. We had a great season this fall. We still have some of our teams that are competing, so I wish them well as they continue to compete. I'm certainly looking forward to this winter season, just seeing the stands filled, in comparison to last year. We didn't have that opportunity. The pep band's going to be in full swing, student sections, and so I'm just excited to come watch our students compete. I thank all of you for your patience as we continue to navigate through things here in 2021 and soon to be 22. If you have any questions at any time about anything, Mr. Bond is always available to you, and I'm also available to you as well. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I will certainly help you any way that I can. In the meantime, I'll turn things over to Mr. Bond, and go Tigers!
Thank you. Tiger fans, please remember that together we will get through all additional challenges. Regardless of the activity, it may not be business as usual. We must all continue to sacrifice individual wants and desires to best serve our kids. We look forward to another fantastic year. Thank you for joining us tonight, and go Tigers!